5 critical mistakes I made when starting out my career, and I've seen people make this same exact mistake over and over again. Whether you are starting your career, you are starting a business, you are starting out in ministry, or you are just generally starting something new, these mistakes are relevant to you and you will want to stay till the end of this video. My name is Ogechi Franklin and I'm here to inspire you to greater heights. Starting out any new thing is already a big thing. People go from excitement, the feeling of joy of just starting, enthusiasm, to fear, to doubt, and so many emotions that go on when you are starting out something. And I made some of these mistakes when I was starting out in my career, and I'll be sharing with you those 5 mistakes that I made and how you can avoid them and make your life simpler. The first mistake I made is the mistake of not asking enough question, not asking sufficient question. You want to impress, you want to show that a lot of knowledge, you have something upstairs, and you don't want to ask a lot of question. I remember this particular scenario. A manager gave me a simple trial balance to roll over. He explained the steps I need to follow to do that roll over, and while doing it I forgot a step, and I was feeling ashamed and awkward on how to go back and ask him how to overcome that particular step. Do you know that I spent the entire day trying to figure it out? What if I went back to him and asked him, no, I've forgotten this particular step, can you show me again? I would have ended up saving a lot of time delivering on that same thing and not wasting time and resources. So you need to ask questions. Number one, you need to know you are still starting. You are not expected to have quite a lot of knowledge because you are still starting. So you need to ask questions. You need to ask your colleagues, ask people, browse. Don't think that, okay, I'm going to be bugging people, I'm going to be disturbing a lot of people if I ask questions. I will be seen in a different light if I ask questions. Overcome those fear and ask questions. The worst thing that can happen is the person says no, or you would end up saving time, saving resources, and getting better at what you do. The second mistake I don't want you to make, or that I made, is the mistake of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, that feeling of being insufficient, that feeling of self-doubt, that feeling of not being capable, that feeling of not being experienced. What will people say when I stand before them? What would people say? What if I fail at this thing I'm starting? Those are imposter syndrome. Those are the feelings that come when you are starting out something. And it came also with Jeremiah. Jeremiah in the Jeremiah 1:7, God was telling him that he was going to be a prophet to Israel, and he was saying, I'm a young person, I do not have experience. But God was saying to him, do not feel pressure that you are a young person. Do not even say that you are a young person, because everything that you have to succeed at that new venture has been given to you. Everything you need to be a prophet to Israel is inside of you. God wants you to take that bold step. Don't say, I'm inexperienced, I do not have what it takes to build this business, to build a successful career. Imposter syndrome can deny you opportunities that you could have had if only you don't have it. I remember being in a room, a question was asked, and I knew it. I knew what to say, but the fear of, what if I raise my hand and say it, I may be wrong, and that prevented me from, saying what I know about it. But what if I had overcome that fear and just raised my hand? The worst thing that can happen is that I get corrected. So imposter syndrome can prevent you from a lot of opportunities that will come your way. And therefore, what do you do to overcome it? First of all, you need to speak to yourself. You need to speak to your mind. You need to tell yourself, everything I need to succeed in this venture, I already have it. Constantly, every day, be speaking to yourself. When that syndrome comes, when that self-doubt comes and says you are not sufficient, you do not have enough knowledge, you do not have enough experience, you speak back, I have enough knowledge, I have enough insight, I am capable. You speak to yourself. And the second thing you need to do to overcome that doubt is step out, take the risk. whenever you feel like you can't do it anyways. Do it even in your fear. Do it even in your self-doubt. Do it anyways. Do not fear to raise your hand. Do it even with that fear there. With that way, when you constantly put yourself out, when you constantly put yourself out for opportunities of growth, opportunities of expansion and improvement, you will quietly and gently overcome that syndrome. The third mistake I made when starting out on my journey is not connecting with people, not connecting with colleagues, not connecting with people higher up there. I joined the firm in a time where, they have already gone through the first phase or the normal phase of their employment, and the people that were at my level had already gone through their own training. So I came in at a time where it wasn't, that particular unit wasn't actually employing. So I went through my own phase of training in a different group. So I didn't really have enough of people I was able to connect with while the first few weeks of training was going on. And so therefore, most times I was sitting on my own. Even when I have an issue, I just prefer to try to figure it out on my own, and that impacted me in a lot of ways until I learned to open up, until I learned to connect with other people. There are sometimes you may be struggling on something that someone else already have an experience, someone else already have an answer to. If only you are able to connect, if only you are able to, open up yourself and connect with those people. It is very important when you are starting out on a new career. Open out yourself, open out your reach out to other people, connect with them. Those connections, you may be surprised what extent it can take you to. And that's the same thing companies do. When employees have left their companies, they stay in contact with them because they know that those employees of today, or those employees that have left the company today, can be a massive opportunity for them in the future. Take, for instance, someone that have been an employee and in the future he's now the governor, he's now the president, or he's in one higher position. That role that person occupies in that future can open up a massive opportunity for the company. And that's the same way you need to be approaching connections. That's the same way you need to be approaching the people you connect with. Those connections, those network that you do with those people higher there, those at your level, can open up massive opportunity for you in the future. And I can't tell you enough opportunities that connecting with people can open up for you and has opened up for me. So stay connected with people. Do not be someone that wants to do things on their own alone. That I made is saying yes to almost everything. When someone comes with a particular task to do, saying yes, wanting to please everybody, wanting to be on everybody's good book. I remember a story that was shared by one of our partners then, of a guy that just came into the company. He was always trying to please everybody. He wanted to be regarded as a star, a performer, be on every good book, and that made him, any task people bring to him, he was always saying yes, he has the ability, yes, he has the capacity to complete it. And people did not know that the guy was overloaded. The guy was dying silently, and they were dropping works for him to do. So it got to an extent, people were dropping everything on his table to do for them, roll over, everything that you can imagine if a new graduate is coming in doing. He was virtually doing everything. And one day they came to the office, they didn't see him, and then the next day they saw him returning his laptop. He was already burnt out, he was already stressed. He said he can't continue, and you don't want that to happen to you. And what do you do to be able to analyze and come to a point where you can say no? Every morning, analyze the things that are already on your table. What are the important tasks you need to complete? What are the things you must do for that day? Analyze, understand what you need to do and how long it can take you, so that when a new task comes, when something new comes your way to do, you can tell the person, can it hold on to your so time, or can someone else do it because I'm already fully occupied for the day, and that makes you to be able to take on things that you can take on, and not because you want to impress everybody. The last mistake I made is not clarifying expectation. Every task, every role, everything you are are doing has a written and unwritten expectation, and what you want to be doing when you are starting out, and even when you have grown in your career or in your business, you need to establish the expectation for that role, for that task, for that job. You need to establish what is the expectation. And how do you do that? You need to determine what, when, and how is this particular task supposed to be completed. What am I expected to deliver? What is the end product at the end of this task, or at the end of this job, or at the end of this role? What is required? What is the expectation? The second thing is, how is it supposed to be done? Do I need to move from A to C to D before getting to the final bus stop? How is it going to be done? And you need to determine, when is the expected result? When do I need to deliver on this particular task? What is the timeline, so that you can be able to determine if you are able to deliver on it, or negotiate, or say, can I do, if it is required in 2 weeks, can I negotiate to do it in 1 month? So you need to be able to determine expectation. Not determining or clarifying expectation will set you up at the end of the day. So establish expectation of every task and every job. These are the 5 mistakes I made, and how I think you can be able to overcome them in your own journey when you are starting a career, or you are starting a business, or you are just starting something new. Let me know in the comment section the other mistakes you made when starting out a job, a career, or anything. Let's engage on the comment section, and I will see you in my next video.